In defense of big boys, in defense of thick boys. Why bear mode is actually viable. What's cracking, guys? Omar Isaf here. Found the hunkiest bear I know, Dr. Pak. Welcome back to the channel.
Thank you, my brother. Thank you for having me again on your wonderful channel. I am honored.
Now, everyone cares about one measurement in the fitness industry. Do you know what it is, Dr. Pak?
Size.
yeah. Followed by your biceps, and this man is busting out of this size XL shirt because that's exactly what we're essentially talking about today. The whole concept, I believe Alpha Destiny, credit to him, coined or popularized when it comes to fitness, the phrase bear mode. So essentially getting a little bit bigger, a little bit huskier, going after PRs, and perhaps most importantly, being comfortable with that. But we want to talk about some of the data, some of the research into what defines health, because some people would clap back and say, hey, if you're over a certain amount of body fat, it's not healthy. We want to talk about this concept, and we want to defend some of the thicker boys.
Exactly. So one of the numbers that you often hear being said, especially when talking about bear mode and bulking, especially in the fitness world, is the number 20% body fat for men.
Yeah.
And that's often viewed as a number that is like the absolute limit for your overall health. Anything above 20% and you're looking at like huge deleterious effects to your overall health. Even 20% itself is viewed as a bad thing. You'll often see on forums, on Reddit, people saying, oh,
this guy's way too fat. He's like surely around 20% body fat.
When in reality, if we look at meta-analytic data that has looked at over like 800,000 people over a bunch of years, honestly. The healthiest body fat for men, or at least the body fat percentage associated with the least risk of dying, essentially, is around 22%. And additionally, I think people have a skewed perception of what 20%, especially when you train and you have muscle, actually looks like. For an average individual, if you see a person just walking down the street, a person that looks normal, not too skinny, not too fat, that person is probably around 20% when we're talking about males. So as far as health goes, it is a bit of a myth that at 20% body fat, that's where things start going really, really down south. In reality, if we look at waist circumference, if your waist circumference is essentially your height in centimeters divided by 2, and that's your waist circumference in centimeters, you're more than fine. Your risk and your overall health as far as longevity goes is solid.
And Pak, I think that's why it's very important to open up with that, because the first assumption some people will make, oh, that's not healthy, right, to be that level of body fat. So that's very important. Let's talk about some of the potential either strength benefits or one of the other misconceptions. Several years ago, a lot of people, I even made a video on this, that spoke about the general concept of the P ratio. So the idea that as you get higher in your body fat level, that when you gain weight, more of that will go towards accumulating extra fat mass and not muscle mass. Therefore, you want to remain leaner when you bulk. So can we talk about, from a pure gym standpoint, wanting to get bigger, wanting to get stronger, potentially some of the benefits of being at a slightly higher body fat than many people would assume. So around 20% body fat, let's say.
So as far as the P ratio goes, essentially how much muscle you're gaining as your body weight is going up. Some people, as you said, have made the claim that as you're above a certain body fat percentage, most of it will shift to being body fat after a certain point. But the data doesn't really support that. That does not mean you should bulk to eternity and get as fat as humanly possible. But if you're somebody who's comfortable, you feel good, you think you look good at roughly 15 to 20, even 23% body fat, that's totally fine, and you are going to make the same gains as if you were leaner. Obviously, some terms and conditions apply. Now, when it comes to building muscle, we have plenty of data, including a study by the good Dr. Eric Helms, shout out Dr. Helms, showing that you can build a solid amount of muscle even on maintenance calories. So if you're somebody who feels comfortable at a higher body fat percentage, again, if your health is in check, waist circumference is in check, and you're feeling good, you are probably going to be making solid gains without gaining any more body weight, having fun sessions, being in the gym, having fueled sessions as far as performance goes, and just looking a bit bigger. The one issue with how bear mode was presented by Alpha Destiny as well, and a lot of these people, was that get fatter so you look bigger in shirts, which I think is not really the way to approach this, because you shouldn't just want to look bigger in a t-shirt and then feel bad when you take that t-shirt off. And it's perfectly fine to want to cut if you don't feel comfortable when you take your t-shirt off. But again, if you're happy with how you're looking, you're good to go. Don't listen to the haters.
Well, let's talk about that, Pak, for a second, because I think one of the potential powers of bear mode would be normalizing different levels of body fat and learning to be comfortable with yourself. Because not enough people talk about the general concept in the fitness industry of body dysmorphia, where a lot of people, you know, they're uncomfortable, they're held to a certain standard. Think about it like this. I got my body fat tested and I was fluffier than normal and I was 13.7% body fat. But on YouTube, I was jokingly referred to compared to, let's say, your average influencer that posts with ab photos, oh, Omar's fat. Now, it's somewhat of a joke, but also there is that pressure to conform to look a certain way. And if that is not your goal, you might be limiting yourself. Like you just spoke about energy availability. So the idea that you feel good, you're eating enough calories, your performance in the gym is going up. Like if we take a look at powerlifters, right? Competitive powerlifters, especially when you start moving up weight classes past 83 kgs, just because there's only a certain amount of muscle mass that one can build, 93, 105, so on and so forth. You can hit more PRs, remain healthy, and be at a higher body fat, and be comfortable with yourself. Pak, can you talk to us a little bit about, let's say, your own journey, your own lifting, your own goals? Because I think it's wonderful to see different individuals, once again, finding what they like to do, that nexus point of what they want to pursue and how they want to look, and being comfortable with it.
Yeah, that's a really good point. So starting off as a lifter, I was always a chubby kid. I essentially got into lifting and then did like a huge cut where I became somewhat skinny.
Yep.
So I was around 80 kilos. And surprisingly, I was very upset at myself because I felt like I didn't look big enough. Then I went through the classic bulking and cutting cycles and heavy body dysmorphia. Even when I was lean and had like a six pack, I felt that I looked bad and I didn't conform to those fitness standards that are, you know, many people forget this is not what regular people conform by.
Yeah.
And as I got into strength lifting and as I got into working on that body dysmorphia, which was an active journey, I realized that the current body fat percentage that I am, which was 20% via BODPOD, 24% via DEXA, around 20% via BIA. I feel good, my health is in tip-top shape, and it is a very sustainable body fat percentage for just general living. Now obviously that will differ from individual to individual, but a lot of the people, especially the people that watch this channel, are not going to be professional bodybuilders. And me being able to travel now to Canada, travel to New York, move around, eat a bit more, obviously while still maintaining healthy habits like a healthy diet, high physical activity, is something that allows me to integrate lifting in my life in a way that is really, really enjoyable versus constantly worrying about food and how I look. And in reality, not a lot of people care. People outside the gym will just either see a big guy, an athletic guy, or like a huge guy if you're just actually huge. But nobody's going to G-check you on why your shoulders are not striated, or I think you could lose a bit of lower back fat.
Yeah. Unfortunately, Pak, I do think that was fantastic. I do think it's sometimes one's own insecurities then being placed upon other people, and it's almost a groupthink scenario. So I think there is power in liberating oneself from some potential societal expectations, understanding, hey, from a health standpoint, you're A-okay, as long as, once again, what Pak said. From a performance standpoint, it actually might go up because now you have higher energy availability, you feel good, you could push that performance in the gym. And then from a building muscle standpoint, it will not limit the potential of what you can actually build. And there actually might be benefits because you're, eating more calories in general, at being a maintenance, and still being able to build said muscle. Is there anything else, Pak, you kind of want to cover about this general concept? Yeah?
Yeah, for sure. So the other thing that I wanted to touch on is the idea that being at a higher body fat percentage is associated with a lack of discipline. Because in the world of fitness, unless you're shredded or unless you're shredding or whatever, that's often viewed as like the epitome of discipline. And don't get me wrong, like doing a dedicated cut or chasing any goal like requires a lot of work. But what we're saying here is not for you to go on eternal bulk and just become fat. You're going to be at a healthy body fat percentage, you'll still look good under good light, you're still going to look good in clothes, and you'll still have to be on top of everything. Training, food, sleep, and obviously physical activity to be in good health. So being able to sustain that for long periods of time is not as easy as it's often presented. So I'd like people to just kind of disassociate from this definition of commitment and dedication being solely connected to just being cut or cutting.
Spitting nothing but facts on this bench, Speaking of which, Dr. Pak, you've been watching the channel for a hot minute. We need to rate this bench. What do you give it out of 10?
It's a solid 3, man.
So yeah, it's flimsy.
It's flimsy. Bear mode is great. And obviously I want to come up with a new term. So I think bear mode
Let's come up.
can put you in certain situations where you'll have to explain yourself a bit more.
Right.
Especially as a hairy individual.
Yeah.
I would like to call it the daddy bod.
Zaddy bod. So let's call it Zad bod, okay?
Zad bod. Okay, I was going for just daddy bod. Fair.
But no, I think you brought up a lot of great points, and we see this all the time. If I have to see one more young YOLO cry after looking at themselves in the mirror because they feel that they're not lean enough, it needs to end. And I think not enough people talk about this topic, or in general, men, their body image potential issues, and then the expectations placed upon them.
Exactly.
Dr. Pak, is there anything else you want to say?
Last thing, ADHD. Nobody's saying don't cut if that's not really like what you're after. If you want to cut and get leaner, and you're good with getting leaner, get leaner. However, if you do feel like you may be suffering from body dysmorphia, that is not something that will go away just by cutting more or just by focusing on your physique even more. Take a step back, potentially seek some professional help, or at least do some extra reading. Reflect and see why you really want to get, because like body dysmorphia goes both ways. Like there's people that want to get absolutely huge, but check yourself before embarking on yet another cut and just going through endless cycles of bulking and cutting. And last but definitely not least, by being on maintenance calories for quite some time, let's say we had 2 identical versions of yourself. One is bulking, cutting, or maintaining and cutting constantly throughout a year. The other one is strictly maintaining, enjoying life, and really focusing on performance in the gym and like absolutely killing it in the gym and being physically active outside the gym. It is much more likely that that person will make more muscle, health, and mental health. It's mental health awareness they actually respect.
Yeah.
Nice. This video is
what are you trying to put out the video of the year? What are you trying to do here?
The video of the year is here.
I will say that in
Shout
order
out
to
Drake.
succeed, in order to succeed,
What up, Dreezy?
You need to be putting in time consistently over years and years. So you need to be invested, you need to be passionate about it, you need to believe in it, and you need to ultimately find your own journey. Hashtag, I want to see down below, Zad bod or Zaddy mode, whatever you want to say. We're going to make it a thing. Dr. Pak, thank you so much for being on the channel. Where can people find you?
People can find me on Instagram at dr_pak, so Dr. Pak.
Yep.
And there's a Linktree link there with all my links.
Also, he has a YouTube channel because this is coming out, right?
Yeah.
Check the link down below. Make sure you subscribe. If you like the video, make sure to like the damn video. And we'll see all my rascals and my zaddies in that next video. Peace.
Peace.
Yeah, I use PEDs. PEDs? I got the hook up.
Introducing PEDs, Performance Enhancing Dinner. Rascal Jants, aka jeans made for lifting. You can squat in them, deadlift, and even practice karate. Jants so powerful, they should be illegal.
Before my Rascal Jants, I was a virgin. And now, I squat 405.
Rascal Jants come in 4 stylish colors: Pale Thunder, Blue Steel, Concrete Gray, and Midnight Magic.
My wife said it's me or the Jants. I hope she's doing well.
Wear them inside the gym or outside. Whatever your peach desires, Rascal Jants, because your booty deserves better.
Before my Rascal Jants, I was a virgin.